The only thing we didn't cover there was Jordan Peterson, but we can cover
Yeah,
that at
tell
some.
me about him because I don't know an awful lot except that he's an author.
He is an author. He wrote a book called 12 Rules for Life, which I have just bought today. So I'm going to read his book, 12 Rules for Life. I'm reading the book at the minute, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but the chapters are a bit long on that, so I want to read a book that has slightly shorter chapters. Jordan Peterson has basically ruffled the feathers of a lot of the feminists, but he isn't actually a man's rights activist in any way. He is a self-help guru, and his mantra is a very Confucian mantra. He's basically ripping off Confucius, and what he says, his mantra is tidy your room. So what that means is that basically you look after yourself before you kind of try to look after other people. And by yourself, firstly, it's you as an individual. And then it's obviously your family or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. And after that, it's your community. After that, it's, your society, essentially. So he's kind of ruffled the feathers of a lot of the kind of young student types who are trying to change the world, and yet they have all the problems in the world themselves. So he's kind of ruffled their feathers. He kind of came to fame because the Canadian government were going to mandate that preferred pronouns be law, and he was very opposed to that. So as much as he's all in favour of using it on an individual basis or being polite to any individual, he thinks that if the state mandates that, that is a can of worms, basically. So he came to fame on the back of that. Originally, more men followed him than women. Significantly more men originally followed him by women. Whenever he kind of first came to prominence, it was about 80% men that kind of followed him. But he's a self-help guru. And a lot of what I've been saying here tonight is inspired by what Jordan Peterson would say. Jordan Peterson has appeared a lot on things like Joe Rogan podcast. He's appeared a lot. So on Joe Rogan, he has his own YouTube channel as well. He's a little bit of an icon of the kind of conservative media, a little bit. But yeah, he has become associated with kind of masculine, masculine overcoming of kind of depression and anxiety, with the mantra tidy your room. I look after yourself, and his whole thing with kind of 12 rules for life. Always be honest, always be truthful, always be kind. And these are kind of the mantras of contemporary masculinity. As he's kind of gotten more famous, more and more women have started to follow him, and more and more women have started to realise that he's not a misogynist, whatever, and he is really just a self-help guru. But the reason why he kind of can't talk about, well, we can, but the reason why he can't talk about kind of men overcoming depression and kind of not at least mention Jordan Peterson is that he's kind of the most prominent figure who talks about kind of the difficulties that men are facing in our contemporary society, i.e. with things like affirmative action, with things like the gender pay gap, which is a thing that is. So this is sort of something that more and more men attend his lectures. And nowadays it's about 60-40 men to women, but for a time it was about 80-20 men to women who were following the 12 rules to life and kind of getting themselves out of depression that way. And he is certainly an influential figure nowadays, and he's kind of associated with a sort of sense of masculinity, a sense of kind of, yeah, and that is...
Cool, well, I mean, that's something to like for. I might have a wee read of that book myself, and
yes,
sure we about that maybe in a couple of weeks once we've both read it.
I think, are you and I both kind of wanting to do book reviews on this live stream moving forward?
Yeah, we did talk about that. I think it's something along with different topics you know, we can shake it up every week, talk about different things. But yeah, as you know, I've just recently bought The Power of Now, which I haven't started reading yet. I'm finishing a book I was reading before, just a bit of a fluff book. So once I finish that, I'm going to get stuck back into reading other things. But The Power of Now is my next read. But this might be one that is for both of us that we could have a chat about, and from two different perspectives, obviously, good to discuss for people.
Yeah, I think people would be interested to hear us talk about our thoughts on Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I've only just bought it, so that might be an idea for a couple of weeks' time, that we discuss the book and we discuss his 12 Rules for Life and see what we think of them. And maybe people might be interested to hear our thoughts on that. But I think for today, I think we're kind of wrapping up.
We are indeed.
That was a good chat.
Yeah. So I will say good night to everybody. Thank you for chatting along with us. And we will see you next week. Take care.